Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of Glorious Life on Wheels. Where am I? I'm in Kentucky, just on the border between Kentucky and Illinois. I'm almost in Illinois, just a few miles. And I stopped here last night and spent the night here. And actually, they have a dog park. Let me show you. You can see Cuddles over here enjoying the dog park. It's actually quite a nice dog park. Some of the Loves and different truck stops have dog parks, which make it really convenient. But the point of this video today is I'm going to talk about how a disappointment at Dollywood, and I mean it was a huge, huge disappointment, turned into a blessing. And that's a lesson I was going to say that I've learned on this trip, but actually it's a lesson that I've relearned, that sometimes things that seem like they're just the worst thing possible in the end turns out to be a blessing. So I'm going to share a little bit of that with you today. Well, as most of you know, one of the main things that we were going to do in coming to Tennessee was going to Dollywood. I have been a big fan of hers for a long time, and I really wanted to go to Dollywood. So since we were going to be in the area, Lindy, bless her heart, reached out to Dollywood and they provided us media passes. But they were very adamant. The person that she was dealing with, she initially reached out to someone who then I guess delegated the task of providing the media passes and everything to us to another person. So this individual, this gentleman, now I'm getting all this secondhand from Lindy, but I know that it's accurate, said that the passes would be available and only good for the 5th of September. And we had tried, or Lindy had tried to change the date, but they were adamant it had to be used on the 5th. So we worked our whole schedule around the 5th. We planned our meetup for the evening of the 5th after we'd gone to Dollywood. We planned leaving after. I mean, everything was scheduled around Dollywood after we went to Incredible Tiny Homes. Well, I had a family emergency. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but I had to go to North Carolina. And I didn't find out about this until I was en route to Tennessee. My brother called me and shared some information about another family member. And so I felt that it was really necessary for me to go to North Carolina. Hey, I already driven 3,000 miles because I had to drive 500 miles up to the Bay Area to drop Jessica off, and then 2,500 miles. So what's another 450 miles to North Carolina, to Eastern North Carolina? And since I was in the area, it made it much more convenient. So we rescheduled, I rescheduled some things. Again, making sure I'd be back for the 5th to go to Dollywood. Well, on the 4th, as I'm preparing to come back from North Carolina, so I can be back in Tennessee to go to Dollywood on the 5th, Lindy calls me and she says, don't rush back. And I'm like, what do you mean don't rush back? She says, well, Dollywood's closed on the 5th. Look, what do you mean they're closed on the 5th? That's where we planned everything. We planned everything around that. And she was just as frustrated as I was. She says, well, I've been emailing the person who is my contact who said I had to be there on the 5th, and he hasn't been responding. And so I looked up the schedule for Dollywood. She just went online. She said, something told me go online, and it said that Dollywood was closed on the 5th. So I told them, I said, you know what, since she was handling this, I said, Lindy, call Dollywood, because it's the 4th, they're open today. Call them and find out what in the heck is going on. So she called them, and then she called me back, and she said, well, apparently the schedule changes after Labor Day. I guess that's the end of the busiest season, and they're no longer open on Tuesdays. Well, the 5th of September is a Tuesday. And I guess what kind of really got to me, she said, well, and she explained that we were there to come on the 5th and we traveled all the way from California. The person who she spoke with, who wasn't the person she had been dealing with, said, oh, well, you can come tomorrow, the 6th. no, we couldn't come tomorrow because we're leaving on the 6th. So it was, I guess, kind of, what got me is like kind of a cavalier, well, I'll just come another day. No, we planned and scheduled. We've come 2,500 miles to do this. We have everything scheduled anyhow. So, but you know what? On this trip, I've learned, well, not learned, again, relearned to just adapt, adjust, and reschedule things, redo, and just let go. And then my brother said something to me. He said, well, you know what? Actually, now you can spend an extra day with, this family member that I came to see. And I thought, you know what? This is really, kind of a blessing, because I had only had a very short visit with her. And, she was in her right mind and everything on that day, and everything turned out beautifully. And he said, you're getting a little more time. He said, so you know what? The thing that was most important about this whole trip, you've been able to do. And I thought about that, and I thought about that. And I thought of all the things that have happened on this trip and everything that we've gone through. And I realized that he was so right. That what really, and it still is a huge disappointment, but I've let go of most of the disappointment, and I've really focused on what turned out to be a blessing. I got the chance to spend some unexpected extended quality time with this individual who is just so very dear to me. And to see the joy that it brought her, to have her coherent so we could talk about things we had done together, experiences, we could laugh. It was truly a huge gift to me that much of it I wouldn't have gotten had I rushed back to Dollywood. So again, so many times I can think back and reflect back on things that I thought were the worst thing possible that could have happened at the time. And in the long run, turns out to be a blessing. So I would just encourage you, when things are going off the rails, and you're discouraged and disappointed, to stop, take a step back, and maybe look at it from a different perspective. Maybe it's meant to be a turning point in your life. Maybe it's meant to head you into a different direction, a direction you would never have gone in had things worked out the way they were meant to or expected to. Have any of you ever had that happen to you, where something completely off the rails or just unexpected happened that was initially you thought was something terrible or a disappointment, and it turned out to be a blessing? Can you put that in the comments and share that with us? I love hearing stories like that. But anyhow, I'm going to get on the road. I am, again, almost in Illinois. I'm hoping to go through, I don't know what order, but Illinois, Missouri. I'm hoping, I don't know, maybe this is overly ambitious. I'll go through Nebraska, maybe even get to Wyoming. I don't know. But I got to make some hay while the sun is shining, as they say. So I'll see you. Hit a like on this video. It really helps the algorithms. And I have a cute little video, it may be very short, of a classic car club that passed by me, and I talked to them for a few minutes, and I'll share that maybe later today or tomorrow. Some of the, again, one of the real highlights and delightful things about traveling is the people you meet. Such fascinating people with amazing and just interesting stories. All right, I'll see you down the road as I continue on my great, I guess this is a great California trip now, heading back to California. All right, bye. See you down the road.